What's going on, everybody? It's etaprime back here again. Today, I am super excited about this one because what we've got here is Redmagic's brand new gaming tablet. If you're not familiar with Redmagic, they make some really powerful gaming phones. I've taken a look at most of them that they've released, but this new tablet is something that I've been waiting on for a while due to the form factor and performance this thing's putting out. This is known as the Redmagic Astra or Astra. Not exactly sure how they want you to pronounce it, but I'm going to call it the Astra. It's got a 9-inch, 165 hertz OLED display, and personally, I think that this is the perfect form factor when it comes to these gaming tablets. This isn't the first tablet that Redmagic has released. They released two others. I think only one made it over to the US officially, but those had much larger screens. I like this form factor because it's easy to carry around, and it's kind of on par with something like an iPad mini. But since it's by Redmagic, it's focused on gaming, and we do have an active cooling system, which means we've got a fan built in here to cool this CPU off. Obviously, it's got a little bit of RGB, and we've got the Redmagic switch, which is going to bring us into our game lobby. And from there, there's a lot of gaming centric features that we can enable on this device. Fingerprint sensor slash power button over here. And when it comes to the specs, Redmagic has really souped this up because instead of something like a Snapdragon Gen 3, we've actually got the Snapdragon 8 Elite. With this, we've got that prime core that'll clock up to 4.32 gigahertz. It's got the Adreno 830i GPU, and this will do up to 1.1 gigahertz. They are offering this in a couple different storage and RAM variants. You can get this with either 12, 16, or 24 gigabytes of RAM, and it's using LPDDR5T. This will do up to 9600 megatransfers per second. I mean, crazy fast memory for a phone or a tablet like this. 256, 512, or 1 terabyte options. It's got a 165 hertz, 9.06 inch OLED display with a resolution of 2400 by 1504, 1600 nits of peak brightness, AX Wi Fi, Bluetooth 5.4, 8200 milliamp hour battery with sonic charging, and you can do from 0 to 100% in 71 minutes with this unit. It's running Redmagic 10.5, which is based on Android 15. And like I mentioned, we've also got that active cooling fan here, but that's not the only way they're going to keep this Snapdragon 8 Elite cool. It's actually using their new 13-layer IceX cooling system. So with this, we've got that underscreen cooling alloy, underscreen vapor chamber, high thermal conductive gel, and so on and so on. The little fan on this will spin up to 20,000 RPM, and we've got a full chamber around, so it's going to draw air all the way around the battery and everything in this unit, allowing that Snapdragon 8 Elite to reach its maximum clocks without thermal throttling for long periods of time. I've been testing out the Astra for a few days, and my only gripe here is the placement of that USB Type-C. Unfortunately, when it comes to these USB Type-C controllers that you can pick up on Amazon, like let's say the new Razer Kishi V3 Pro, that tablet is going to be a bit offset. I mean, it does work with it, and I'm not sure if Redmagic is going to release their own USB Type-C controller. It would have been nice if they placed it right in the middle, but we've got those dual stereo speakers right in the middle of each edge of the tablet. So connecting one of these USB Type-C controllers will be a bit funky. I mean, it's usable like this, but you might be better off using a wireless controller. Next thing I wanted to show off was this Redmagic switch up top. Once we enable it, it's going to bring us into our game lobby. This used to be known as Redmagic Time, but from here, we've basically got a nice little game launcher. You can add, remove games. We've also got some performance features that can be enabled directly from here. You can do this per game or system wide. So from performance, we can change the governor on that CPU. We've also got some GPU tuning that we can do, but there are some presets here that just allow you to go from balanced all the way up to what they call Diablo mode, which is going to be all out maximum clocks on the CPU and GPU. There's also a game-based section, and from here we can enable different plugins. So if you wanted an on-screen crosshair, you can do it from here. There's a stopwatch, AI triggers, free display, auxiliary line, hunt mode, scout mode. You can even enable Diablo mode from here. And with updates, they have added new ones over the past couple months, so we may see some more down the road. And through system updates, they can always add new ones. In the past couple months on the Redmagic 10 Pro, they did enable a few extras, so we may see more down the road. I'm not exactly sure what their plans are. And the Astra does support video over USB Type-C, just like their larger Nova tablet, plus console mode. This is the Redmagic Nova, which is their larger tablet. It's got the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. I did a video on this. Looks basically the same, and I'll have a full video coming up because it's really awesome with that Snapdragon 8 Elite. They do call this console mode. You can also mirror the screen if you want to, but using this with, let's say, a mouse and a keyboard is really awesome for that full screen experience. But now I want to move over to some gaming here. Then we're going to move over to some emulation. Obviously, super easy game to run. We've got Minecraft, but I did want to show you the in-game features that we have. While playing a game, swiping over from the left or the right-hand side will bring up our performance menu. From here, we can enable those plugins we were talking about. You can set up the screen recorder, on-screen FPS counter. But over on the left-hand side, we've got our performance presets. There's an eco mode, and Minecraft is actually going to run at 120 hertz in eco mode, so you don't even need to go up to balanced mode. We've also got our rise mode, which is basically our performance mode, and you can see the clocks on the GPU and CPU change, plus Diablo mode right over here. It's going to give us a little bit of a warning telling us that, yeah, this is going to use a lot of power. And for something like Minecraft, you can just go to eco mode. We've also got our on-screen performance monitor. Personally, I use this quite a bit because we've got that real-time FPS counter. And with something like Minecraft, I believe this game kind of caps out at 120 FPS. But having that on-screen real-time FPS counter does come in really handy. And for the most part, I mean, with the Snapdragon 8 Elite, if you're in, let's say, Rise mode, you're going to be able to max out anything from Google Play. You're going to be able to go up to the highest frame rate that you can hit. And we've got a 165 hertz OLED display. It looks really good. I mean, I do love what they've done here. Just putting this thing down stationary, I've got an Xbox controller connected over Bluetooth, Call of Duty Mobile, highest settings, highest frame rate, and we're running at 120 hertz with this. So this is another one of those games that caps out at 120 FPS on Android, at least at the time of making this video, but it can definitely reach it and sustain that 120 FPS with this game. And right now, I'm in Rise mode. I really don't need to enable Diablo mode for a lot of stuff, but if you just want a little extra, you could definitely turn it on if you wanted.
UAV online. Changing mag. Tango down. Killer drone ready for deployment.
I personally don't play PUBG, but I kind of just wanted to show it off. I know this is the training area, but with that 8 Elite, you can do this at 60. From the settings, I'm at highest and extreme frame rate, but we're only at 60 FPS, which isn't bad at all. I mean, it's still really smooth like this. Let me know in the comments below if this game can go to 90 hertz on different devices, because it just might not be whitelisted right now. I know some manufacturers allow games to kind of go up a little higher, or even with the settings, depending on the make and model of the tablet or phone. And the final native Android game I wanted to show off was Fortnite. And I know for a fact that on the Redmagic 10 Pro, which has the same chipset here, from the settings we can do up to 90 FPS, but it looks like this is still only locked at 60. And I've got everything maxed out, so we're at epic settings, 100% resolution scale, and the high resolution textures are downloaded. Just like I mentioned with PUBG, it could be that this is not whitelisted just yet, but on that 10 Pro, the Redmagic phone with that Snapdragon 8 Elite, it does 90 all day long with these same exact settings. So there's no doubt that this tablet can handle it. It's just a matter of being able to really enable it from the settings. I went through and tested a few more Android games, mainly some racing stuff that I usually play on mobile, and I was able to take all of the settings up to high. Grid, Car X, I also tested Genshin Impact, and that will run at highest settings, 60 FPS. But now I want to move over to some emulation because this Snapdragon 8 Elite can really handle some high-end stuff. Here's some GameCube using the Dolphin emulator. Auto Modellista, just a really awesome racing game, one I always like to go to and test. We're using the OpenGL backend because we've got a Snapdragon chip, and I'm at 4x resolution. So we're upscaled by 4 times of the original resolution of the GameCube, which brings us up to 2560 by 2112, I believe. So I'll show you. We'll go into the settings, and from here we'll go to graphics settings, enhancements, and the internal resolution at 4x. So we're 4x native, 2560, 2112. So that's actually going over the resolution of this OLED display. And I know it doesn't make sense to some people out there. Going down to 3x is still going to look great on this screen here, but I wanted to show you how much power the Snapdragon 8 Elite has. And being able to upscale a game like this by 4 times the original resolution is awesome. I also went through and tested 5 other games, and if you're into the emulation scene, you know it's getting a bit dicey to show this stuff off on YouTube. So with something like Wind Waker, we can do up to 5x with this. It's going to run at 60. Rogue Squadron was the only one where I had to drop it under 4, and that's kind of a given. That's just a really hard game to emulate. 3x on that, which still looks amazing on this OLED display. Resident Evil 4, 4x, 60. I didn't even try to go up to 5, but I do have a feeling that we'd be able to do it with that. Soul Calibur 2, 4x at 60, and Metroid Prime, upscaled by 4 times at 60 FPS. And with all of this, I was using the OpenGL backend with Dolphin in Rise mode on the Redmagic ASTRA. Moving over to some PS2 emulation, I've got Nether SX2 installed here, God of War 2, and for the longest time, even on the 8 Elite, we were really only able to go up to 3x with this. But with this setup, I figured I'd go ahead and try 4x, and sure enough, it's running at 60 FPS. So we're actually at 2048 by 1792, and I'm not sure if this has to do with the way Red Magic has everything set up with their drivers, or updates the Nether SX2. But being able to take this PS2 game upscaled by 4x on a tablet is awesome. And just like GameCube, went through and tested 5 other games here. Okami, 3x, 60 FPS. Metal Gear Solid 2 at 3x. Ratchet and Clank, Going Commando, 3x. Burnout 3 Takedown, I tried at 4x and it ran perfectly at 60. And Jax 2, 3x resolution. So there's no doubt that this tablet here can do some really awesome emulation when it comes to GameCube and PS2, and anything under that is also going to run amazingly. In fact, even the harder to run PSP games can be upscaled to 10x resolution. Before I wrap this video up, the last thing I wanted to talk about here was battery life, and my tests are based solely on power draw from the battery while doing specific tasks. This is actually going to get us real close, and over on the Red Magic website, they did list a few. These aren't that far off. So with this, we've got that 8200 milliamp hour battery. Screen brightness was at 50% for all of these tests. Wi-Fi and Bluetooth was on. PUBG, looking at over 4 hours of continuous gameplay. GameCube emulation over 6 hours, and local video playback over 30 hours of runtime. That's not from YouTube, that's playing from the internal storage. YouTube will cut that down by a bit, but you can still get some really good runtime out of this thing watching videos on it. So far, I'm loving the new Redmagic ASTRA tablet, and I'm glad they came out with something in this form factor. We've got that Snapdragon 8 Elite, and of course, a more powerful chip will be released in a couple months, maybe even a month from now. It's going to take a while until we get them in something like this, but this is already offering more than enough power for every Android game out there at the time of making this video. In this form factor, the screen is unmatched right now. Now, there are some smaller tablets with the Snapdragon 8 Elite, but none of them use an OLED like we have here, and this thing looks amazing. So yeah, I'm a big fan of the new Redmagic ASTRA, and I'll have at least one more video coming up, so if there's anything else you want to see running on this, just let me know in the comments below. I definitely want to test out console mode and show you what we can do there, but that's going to wrap it up for this video. If you're interested in learning a little more about the Astra from Red Magic, I'll leave some links in the description. And like always, thanks for watching.